How do you stay consistent with exercise even when things are busy?
Are you all going to do another round of IVF, baby number 2 or not?
We are at the hospital. Any tips for trying to spice up intimacy between me/spouse?
But I allow myself on weekends to do whatever.
Until like realizing this is extremely detrimental to my health.
Hello. Okay, before I start this video, I'm sitting down to edit it right now, and I realized that the setting my camera's on makes everything really grainy. I don't know what I did, but it's like the whole video. So I'm sorry if the quality is not great, but I really love what I spoke about. I love the messaging of this video, so I think it is important. I'm not gonna like reshoot it because it's just not gonna be organic that way. And another thing I wanna say is a little disclaimer. I am gonna talk about body image, body dysmorphia, EDs. So if that at all is triggering to you, I think this video was still positive, but like if even hearing about it is triggering, I just want to put that out there just in case. So yeah, let's get into the video.
Hello, welcome back to my channel. I was just getting ready to go for a bike ride this morning. Wasn't sure if I wanted to do a run or a bike ride, but it's actually not freezing outside. And so I like to bike when it's not A, windy, or B, really cold. And I don't know how many rides I'll have left to be able to do it outside before it gets too cold. Because obviously when you're biking fast, there's wind, and when the wind is cold, it's not summer wind anymore, so it's not as fun to be freezing when you're biking. But I figured I would sit down, and as I go on my day today, I'll answer some questions because I felt like doing an honest Q&A. I'm very open about certain things on different media apps. It's so weird how every like social media platform is different, and I show like a different side of me. For example, I feel like the podcast is where I really go into detail about everything and like give my honest thoughts, unfiltered, all that stuff, because I just feel safe there. I feel like people who are listening tend to be a lot more receptive to things I have to say. YouTube is very hit or miss. YouTube, I've been doing this now for so long, and like those of you that have been through a lot with me and have supported me are always so kind and so nice. And then I'll always have the long-term hater support of the people that literally will make like blog posts or like go on forums to like talk negatively about me, and they use my YouTube videos as like the main thing, and I don't know why that is. Instagram, again, hit or miss. My DMs can be kind of mean, but for the most part everyone's very positive, especially in the comments. And then if someone is mean in a comment, people usually will like come to my defense. Not that I need that. I don't know, I feel like I'm in a place now where I don't care too much about online hate, because I don't know, as I got older I just really realized to have the time and energy to go and do that on social media is just a huge reflection on that person, and it's like a very sad thing to do because happy people just don't do that. So that's like kind of how I see it. But when I'm going through vulnerable states in my life, that's when I get kind of nervous to say something, or I overthink everything I'm saying because I don't want to get any negative feedback because I'm not in a place to receive it, which is very normal in life. You go up and down. There's an ebb and flow to everything. So right now I'm in a really good place. So I feel like it's a good time to have an honest Q&A because I could take feedback. So I'm gonna start with, I posted on Instagram this morning that I was gonna film this video, and just based off of some of the responses I got, a lot of them are about exercise and working out in particular. And so one of them said, how do you stay consistent with exercise even when things are busy? For myself, there was an internal motivation of like, I need to get my health on track. Here's the thing, I have talked about this on YouTube before, so if you watch all my videos, I feel like I'm gonna be repeating myself, but if you haven't, and this is like the first one you're watching in a while, or you haven't listened to the podcast, whatever, I'm just gonna re-explain. I had a blood test done. It was either like end of April, beginning of May, around Arky's birthday. I didn't have the best results. Like all my bloods are normally very healthy. Like everything's balanced, everything's good. Even throughout my pregnancy and like gaining weight and stuff and postpartum, they've always been good. But this time it was borderline high cholesterol, which is not high cholesterol, but it's like there's a gray area you can be in, and I was like at the borderline of the high end. And my doctor was kind of just like, oh, not like concerning, alarming, like, oh my God, this is really bad. It was kind of like, okay, well, at your age and with your lifestyle, like that's not a good place to be in. Just kind of a heads up. And so that was kind of a shock to me because I don't know, everything had always been so good. Even with gaining weight and losing weight, like throughout my life, my bloods have always been good. And the reason why I was getting a blood test is because I was going in for this surgery that I had done in the summer, and we just needed to get like pre-bloods for whatever. There was just a reason I needed to get a blood test. And so when that result came back, I was kind of like, oh, I need to definitely make a lifestyle change here. But I was nervous because in the past with like body dysmorphia and specific eating disorders, it could be very triggering when you are talking about like weight loss or anything like that. And so my doctor wasn't telling me to lose weight. He was just kind of like, shift your diet around. There's certain foods that are better for cholesterol, that are worse for cholesterol. And so I actually worked with a doctor, a nutritionist, and my therapist because I was very scared to get into that like place that I would go to in the past with just comparison and just negative thoughts. I didn't want to do that, but I wanted to like have healthy bloods. And that's one thing that we really just always focused on in therapy is healthy bloods, healthy bloods, healthy bloods. I guess that was a like this goes hand in hand with the weight loss question because I'm getting that so often. So that was basically a motivation on its own, was like, I need to be healthy. I want to live long. I want to be able to be there for my son. And so the main thing that it was honestly a big motivation. And I know that sucks to hear for a lot of people because I was scared into doing it. So I had this push and like fire under my ass to like get my life back together and like figure my shit out so that I could be healthy. So it started off where I was like making it a main priority. Like I need to exercise at least 5 times a week and get my heart rate up for at least 20 minutes in a day. So my exercise could be a walk. Like that is, to me, exercise. I'm going for a long like 5K walk, but at 20 minutes in that walk, I'll either run or I would like do jumping jacks and just a little bit of cardio to get my heart rate up for at least 20 minutes in a day. And at the beginning, it was easy for me to do that because I like to work out first thing in the morning. So I would get up and I would just right away go and work out and get my heart rate up. And I felt good for the rest of the day. And then like anything else I did was just a bonus. So if we like went hiking with friends, and because this was like May that I started, the weather was getting nicer, which always helps me feel better and helps me feel a lot more motivated because it's just nice to work out outside. It's cheap, it's free. I could just go out and do whatever. And then when I went to Georgia, which was the beginning of June, to visit my aunt, my cousin was also there. And my cousin is really big into strength training. She honestly could be a personal trainer. Like she has been doing this for so long. She was kind of in the midst of like studying to be a personal trainer. So anyways, she trained me when I was there and like met me at my level. And I felt so good in the gym. Like she was teaching me how to use certain machines and just like weights and how to do certain things to make myself feel stronger. And when I got back from that trip, I was like, I want to continue this. So Dan had a bunch of stuff already from COVID. He had purchased a bunch of things to work out in our basement when all the gyms were closed. So I was just using random, like not even dumbbells. It's like the like heavy weights that go on the side of a barbell. I would like take a 10 pound or a 25 pound of those circular discs and use that to work out. I had 2 5-pound circular discs that I would do like my arm exercises with, like all these types of things. And I would literally just search stuff on YouTube or on TikTok. I would like see them on my For You page and save them to my favorites and just do that exercise. And so like I said, the beginning was like a motivation of, I had this bad blood test, I had a fire lit under my ass, I need to get my life together. Then I started noticing myself getting stronger because of the like strength training I was doing. And Pilates, I also, oh my gosh, I would find all these Pilates courses on YouTube. I would just search them abs, like all these things for free. I would just set up my computer or my phone and just like follow along with the video. My energy levels were getting better. I was sleeping way better at night, like really good. I was less anxious, less stressed. And because we were like out and doing things and it was summer and I was busy, I don't know, I just felt really good and motivated. It just kind of kept the ball rolling and I just went with it. And it's been now, what is it? It's almost October. So May, June, July, August, September. It's been 5 full months almost that I've been doing this and I've been feeling amazing. And I'm not very strict on myself of like, it has to be this every single day and it has to be that and I have to do it this amount of times in a week. There are some weeks where I'm just like, especially before my period, where I'm just not feeling good, or even on my period, and I'm like, ugh. I listen to my body. And I had a blood test again in August, so it was like 3 months later, and my cholesterol is like back down to normal. It's really good. But a big thing in that has also been like diet, because what I was eating prior to this lifestyle switch was just not sustainable or healthy. It was just not good. Like I just wasn't caring about what I put in my body. I wasn't caring about really anything to do health related. So that was something that I really switched up, and I'll talk about that in a little bit later in the video. But the motivation for me when things are busy is that I make it a priority for myself. On days where I know I'm just lazy and it's not like, oh, my body is just telling me to rest. It's like, no, I'm being lazy. I'll push myself to do it because I always feel better after. I never feel bad after I work out. There was a time where I had a boxing class like 2 weeks ago and I was feeling so drained. I had no energy. I was like, oh my God, I feel like I can't even punch. What is going on? I'm so tired. And she looked at me and she was like, well, it's not you being lazy. Like sometimes your body is just really telling you to take a break. And then I got my period like 2 days later. So I was like, okay, I definitely was just not feeling it that day. So I have to really listen to myself and know the difference between like being actually physically tired, mentally drained, or just lazy, which happens a lot. So on days that I have a very busy work day, I will work out first thing in the morning, but sometimes if it's not as busy, I will work out later, but I typically love to work on the morning. So that's what I'm gonna go do right now. And I will be back to answer another question after.
Okay, I was actually in the middle of biking when I got a call from the hospital saying I can come in for my appointment earlier. I was supposed to go in the afternoon. They said I can come anytime before noon. I guess someone canceled. So that'll lead me into my next question, which is, are you all going to do another round of IVF, baby number 2 or not? If you're not caught up, I had a surgery done in July where they removed the septum of my uterus. Originally I was told like it wouldn't make a difference in fertility, but after speaking to many women, and also this surgeon himself said there aren't enough studies done on women to say that it is a factor of infertility, but essentially it is a factor of infertility, having a septate uterus. Not saying you can't get pregnant, because I have been pregnant multiple times in the past. I have a baby. I went past term, like it was all very normal pregnancy, but maybe through the cesarean and like through life and body changes and etc., something could have happened. I don't know. Because our fertility, like everything else about us is normal. It's unexplained infertility. Like everything about Dan is perfect. Me, I actually have a higher rate of fertility for my age because I have a lot more follicles. My AMH levels are really good for my age. Anyways, so it just like wasn't making sense as to why we weren't getting pregnant. But I spoke about this a lot more on my podcast, but I spent so much of 2022 like trying to get pregnant. It completely drained me, and I don't want to live like that anymore. Like I've already passed the age gap that I wanted between my kids. So anytime now doesn't really make a difference. Like I really wanted between 2.5 and 3 year age gap. I just felt like for us, that's what made most sense. And that is like way far gone now. So at this point, whenever we were to get pregnant, there's going to be an age gap, like a pretty big age gap. So I'm not pressured anymore. I've talked to so many people that have age gaps with their siblings and how much they get along. I've talked to a lot of moms who have a big age gap with their kids and how much they loved having an age gap. And I just really think it depends on how you raise your kids. My child is very socialized right now and he's really good at being independent. So he's got like a good mix of the both. And obviously we would love to have a second baby, but there is no rush now. I'm going in for a follow-up appointment at the hospital. They're gonna do another hysteroscopy, I think it's what it's called, where they go into the uterus with a camera to check on like if there's any scar tissue left over from the surgery, how it's looking, all of that kind of stuff. And we were told not to like get well, we weren't told not to get pregnant. We just were told not to go through with any kind of embryo transfer or anything until we had the follow-up appointment. He said if we get pregnant naturally before, it's fine, but like we just weren't trying because like I just didn't want to deal with that. But I'm finally in a place now where I'm like really good with like who I am as a person, and I'm not just like a mom anymore, that I don't feel this pressure to have to like have another baby for my child. Like it's just, there's a lot less pressure on it now. And so we're not actively trying. We have 2 other like healthy embryos that are frozen, which we're not going to do a transfer anytime soon. If we get pregnant naturally, that's awesome, but we're not really putting any pressure on ourselves. We're not actively trying. So I don't know, the next few months I have a lot of stuff going on like work wise and some trips planned, so it just wouldn't be like the most ideal time to be pregnant. But again, it's like always a blessing no matter what. But yeah, so that's the answer to that question, but I'll update you after this appointment. I don't know if they're gonna give me any drugs. Last time it was like optional, and when they were doing the surgery I like took the drugs and I was very loopy after, but I think since it's just the camera, they're just gonna freeze my cervix. So I think I'll be fine after, but we'll see. I'm gonna go meet my mom because my mom is gonna bring me since Dan and Arky are at a doctor's appointment. We are at the hospital. And I'm getting ready to go in. I don't know if I'm getting another surgery though. They're like setting me up as if I am, so. Okay, time has passed. I just got into the car with my parents. The drugs have worn off. I was gonna film before. Did I film a thing on my phone? If I did, I probably would have inserted that. I have like a faint memory of doing that. Okay, little update. So I went in today thinking it was just a hysteroscopy where they go under the camera to see how the healing was, but there was still a little bit of the septum left over, like half a centimeter, not a big amount, but he was like, he remembers last time, he wasn't entirely sure if he got the whole thing. So he's like, I'm just gonna remove the rest of it. And then he was like, hey, it's for sure gone now. So in a few weeks when I go back for a follow-up again, just to make sure everything's healed okay, then like we get the green light to, I guess, go for another transfer if we wanted to. He sent all of the, they like took photos and stuff of my uterus and sent it to the fertility clinic because they're affiliated. And so I guess they'll have all of my documents there. It feels good to like, I guess, be done with it now. There is a huge difference from last time versus this time, because last time, obviously I had a really big septum and they removed most of it. I thought they removed all of it, but they removed almost all of it. And then they put a balloon in me for like 7 days to make sure that like my uterus didn't close on itself. And then I was on hormones, and the pain I had from the balloon was just like constant contractions. Ugh, it was just awful. I like fainted after I got off the painkillers or the whatever drug they gave me. Anyways, so I lied down, and then I was like, I don't want meds unless I absolutely need it. I don't know, I just don't like taking drugs unless I like have to. He was like, okay, well, the part that I'm snipping is like the part that's gonna hurt the most. So the nurse is like, you want some fentanyl? I was like, sure. And then I was just really out of it, like super loopy. I still kind of felt the pain, which they kept telling me, if you're like, tell us if you feel pain, we'll give you more or whatever. But I was like, I'm really good at managing pain when I am expecting it. I'm not as good if I like stub my toe or something, then I'm like, oh, it's the end of the world. But when I'm expecting the pain, I'm like really good at like mentally prepping myself and being okay. So yeah, that went well. It's been a few hours since I had this procedure, so I'm feeling good. And I can drive home now because I'm not currently on any more drugs. So I was going through some of the questions, and I just noticed a pattern of like the weight. And I spoke about this a lot on the podcast. If you're curious, I will link the exact episode down below. There has been so many comments about weight loss. Like, how did you lose weight? What exactly did you do? And if you're curious to like hear my in-depth thoughts, I will link that podcast, like I said. But essentially, like, what I said earlier in the video, my lifestyle switch was not for anything physical. It was literally for my bloods to be clean. And a result of that change of lifestyle was weight loss. I'm a naturally thin person. Like, my parents were thin. I was thin growing up, just the way my genetics are. Exercising and eating a certain way, my body's gonna look a certain way. I know things change as you get older and as you go through different cycles in your life, like ebb and flow, like I said. For me, it's like, I don't ever want to tell someone exactly what I'm doing, because I don't want to, first of all, influence anyone in a way that might be dangerous for them, because I worked with a nutritionist, with my doctor, like with a therapist, in order to do this properly for me, for my hormone levels, my thyroid levels, my like everything like that was to make sure that I was doing it properly and healthfully, is that a word? Anyways, I wanted something sustainable that I could continue for the rest of my life. And for me, the biggest change was my diet, because, okay, yes, I was exercising more, obviously. I had a really bad binging habit, and it was just more of learning when my body was hungry, when my body was actually full, and when I was bored. Because a lot of times I would emotionally eat, I would eat out of boredom. I never really felt hungry because I was just constantly just snacking. And I saw someone say this on TikTok the other day. I think it was Claudia Saluski. She was on someone's podcast. And when she said that, I was like, oh my God, that's literally, that was me. Is because I was so like, I don't care, like I'm over my eating disorder. It's been years. Like I don't want to care about what I put in my body and like calorie count and restrict and binge and no. Like I'm just gonna kind of do what I want, everything in moderation. But like realistically, I just wasn't being careful with what I was putting in my body, because I would just eat anything, whenever, whatever. And it did catch up to me. And I'm not saying that eating that way will catch up to you. Like it just, for me, it made me unhealthy, like my organs. So obviously eating healthy, and I even hate saying that, eating healthy, because all food is like, food is food, but there are foods for you that are healthier than others. Obviously, like the biggest thing that I really cut out was junk food, chips, cookies, like just snacking on junk food. I just would switch to snacking on like healthier foods, like apple and peanut butter, or carrots and hummus, or just making sure I had like really well-balanced meals so that I didn't feel like I needed to snack. So a big thing was making sure I had enough protein in the day, and like really eating enough protein and getting enough vegetables every single day, not eating as much processed sugar. Like that was the hardest thing for me to cut, is like I really had a thing with processed sugar. So the first 2 weeks of me like cutting that down, I was very not a happy person. And I literally went through withdrawal. I'm not kidding. Like I had withdrawal symptoms, headaches, like it was just bad. But I allow myself on weekends to do whatever. So like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I can eat whatever. And then Monday to Thursday, I'm like more strict about like the whatever I came up with my doctor and my nutritionist. Lots of veggies, like I said, lots of protein. Just making all my meals at home. I don't eat out much, like especially on Monday to Thursday, like very strict on that. Now, not as much anymore because I'm at like a healthy level, but I still like to keep it up because it is something that's sustainable for me. Like now I'm able to, like this is my lifestyle now. It's not even something I have to think about. I'm just like, oh, I really enjoy eating these foods. I'm really good at cooking these foods at home and making them for myself and my family. So I just do it, and it is what it is. And I don't want to give like a set thing of like what I do, because it might not even work for you, like, or it might be dangerous for you. Like, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist. It's so scary to put things online like that, because now that I'm older and I realize the impact it can have on women and how much it impacted me watching certain things, I'll share recipes here and there, but I'm not gonna ever give like a strict thing of like exactly what I did. But to lay the other, rumors to rest is no, I was never on Ozempic. I didn't even know what that was until people were like, oh, she's on Ozempic. I was like, what is that? I think it's a medication for diabetes. I could be wrong. You can correct me in the comments. But I don't have diabetes. I don't have any issues with that. I think Ozempic just cuts your hunger appetite. Like it just makes it so that you're not hungry, which is not the case for me. I eat when I'm hungry, and I'm very in tune with like my body. I would never just go on that to lose weight. It's just not something that is like what I would ever want to do. Like I want to be healthy and do something like long term and good for me that I'm able to do on my own. And this has been 5 months of really hard work, physically and mentally. I think that people online don't like to hear that, because it's like, oh no, it's just easy to take Ozempic, and like it's so hard to know what's real because celebrities just take Ozempic to get skinny. And it's like, that's fine if that's what they want to do. That's just not what I did. Like what I did was really hard work. And I'm very proud of myself for doing it, because I mean, like I said, I guess I had the scare from my doctor, so that kind of did push me a little bit into it, because I was like, oh, I don't know if I would have done it if it wasn't for that, honestly. But it has helped so much with my mood, and I feel like, and I talked about this a lot on the podcast too, but like people are like, oh, Alex, you're glowing. And I just think it's because I'm happy, because I'm in such a good place. I'm sleeping fine. I don't feel as anxious. Obviously I'm a human. If something comes up that makes me nervous, like I'm gonna feel anxious, but it's not like I'm living in constant anxiety. I don't feel depressed. I don't feel like I'm missing on something, or that I don't have a purpose. Like I know who I am now. I've just been like figuring me out a lot more lately, and it's been really nice to kind of have myself back as a human and not just fall into the trap of I'm just a mom and lose myself in motherhood, which I definitely think I did. And I'm just in a much better place now. But yeah, my weight loss had nothing to do with me like wanting to lose weight. And I said this on the podcast too. There's nothing wrong if you want to lose weight, if you're doing it in a healthy way. Like there should be no shame in saying that like you want to lose weight. I think it can be unhealthy because of like the way I was raised, and like people that like don't really even need to lose weight are saying they want to lose 3 pounds. Like it's just very toxic. And so I get that whole argument. And I think for me, because I have struggled with body dysmorphia and an ED, it's just like, it's a very sensitive topic. The way I look now and the way I look 5 months ago, I love myself and the way I look equally. I just feel better now because I'm healthier internally than I was 5 months ago. But the way I look, like when I look in the mirror, I love myself just as much now as I did back then. And I really think it took me going through what I went through with like getting pregnant, giving birth and all of that to appreciate it. And then obviously going through infertility made me like feel frustrated with my body, but I never stopped loving the way I looked. I don't know. I just feel happier all around. So yeah, that's the next question. I need to drive home because Dan's been alone with Arky, and Dan actually has an injury. So I gotta go do that and get some work done.
Okay, it's been a few hours and I'm definitely feeling it now. I have a few cramps, but it's not bad. Honestly, it's really not bad. I just feel tired. Like I don't know if it was what they gave me, like the drug they gave me, or the fact that like it's trauma to my body because it's a surgery. I also wasn't expecting it. Like I wasn't expecting to have another surgery. I thought it was just like a camera. I don't know. Or like maybe if there was some scar tissue, but not like more septum, which she said is very common, that like they don't get it all the first time, especially if it's like quite big. Yeah, so I was just going through some questions, and I honestly think this is the last one I'm going to answer for today. I might answer another like a few tomorrow, just because I'm drained. I'm so drained. I can't even think properly. Any tips for trying to spice up intimacy between me/spouse? So I actually think this is a really good question, because a lot of people, well, couples especially, struggle with this after becoming a mom or being in a long-term relationship. It's not talked about enough. And I've recently had the discussion with a lot of my friends, and it's so much more normal than you think. Women go through waves with our hormones, like literally on a monthly cycle. And based off of our hormones, you can be more in the mood than other times. Sometimes you can go through like a few months of a rut where you're just like not feeling it. For myself, I've definitely been there before, but what has really helped me in the past is learning what I like as a person. Everyone has different love languages. I definitely am like a more like physical touch person. Dan is much more like acts of service. Like if I clean up or do things like that, like he's so appreciative of it. I like hugs. I like even compliments. I don't know. We compliment each other on our love languages, and it took time to figure out what they were. Like I didn't really understand how much it actually can help a relationship. And when it comes to intimacy, I think when you feed different parts of your love language in your love life, it really plays a part in the intimacy level, because you're not feeling resentment, you're not feeling that you're not fulfilled, and then just knowing what you like. For me, a big thing has been my spicy books. Just putting it out there. Really gets me excited, and I'll tell Dan about them, I'll show him. Not that we like act out the scenes or anything, but it definitely like gets me in the mood. So just finding out what you like, not being shy to talk about it with your partner, open up that conversation, exploring yourself, and then relaying that to your partner. My glasses are so dirty. But yeah, also, if you're able to get your hormones checked, I highly recommend it, because we don't realize how much our hormones play a part in our like intimacy and to get aroused. Also, when you've been with the same person for a long time, like, it is fun to try new things and just be like open-minded. Sometimes that really helps. But to give yourself grace and know that everyone goes through phases and it's fine. When I'm in a really good place mentally, obviously things are better and I'm like way better at like wanting to be intimate and being excited about that kind of stuff. And when I'm in a funk, it's definitely like not high on my priority list. But working on myself, being open with my partner, fulfilling our love languages and talking about it, communication, and seeing what I like, seeing what my partner likes, and just kind of going based off of that, I think for most people that would be really helpful. And if you are open to reading or even listening to audiobooks, highly recommend some spicy novels, because I'm telling you, they will probably put you in the mood. Sometimes I'm like, whoa. But like, can I just say, A Court of Mist and Fury, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, let's do one more. A lot of them are about like how to get in shape. I just don't want people to compare. Like, I know it's human nature and I do it too. So like, I should take my own advice. But it sucks because I don't want anyone ever to like look at my content and be like, oh my god, she lost the baby weight, like I'm feeling so crappy about myself because I didn't do that. My child is 3.5, so it took me a really long time to get to where I am. And like I said earlier, I don't think I would even be here if I didn't get that blood test result, because I just was content in my body and in my skin, and I don't know how to explain how I was. I just was. Like, I think for so long in my life, I struggled so much with comparison in like my real life with different girls and just like wanting to look like someone so I could fit in. And I think a lot of it has to stem from like when I was bullied when I was younger. And then when I got pregnant and I like saw my body having a purpose for something greater than just like its looks, I just fell in love with it. It's kind of like, how do you describe falling in love with someone? You just do. Like, I don't know how to describe that feeling of you just fall in love with a person. In this situation, I fell in love with the way my body was. There's no like science to it. And it sucks because I wish there was just like formula that you could follow and like you could feel the same way. But all I can say is to keep reminding yourself that we are so much more than what we look like. Bigger or smaller, like literally it does not matter what we look like at the end of the day. And it sucks that there's so much emphasis on it and it's talked about so much. I mean, even me talking about this in a video is bringing it up, but it's like, I'm so not in a place that I don't care what I look like size-wise at all. I just want to be healthy for my child, to like live a long life and be there for him and have the energy to like play with him and be there when he needs me. And I think I just had a bit of a wake-up call. And I'm not saying that like, because you can be any size and be healthy or unhealthy on the inside. Because what you look like outwardly, for the most part, does not really play a part in your health, for the most part, okay? That's what I'm saying. And I don't know. There's been times in my life where like I've lost a lot of weight, not in a healthy way, and I got like so many compliments on it, and I just figured like, oh, well, I guess I have to be skinny to be liked, to be valued, to be respected. And so I would continue this unhealthy lifestyle until like realizing this is extremely detrimental to my health. And I don't want to live like this. It's not sustainable. It's not good for me. I'm not going to live a long life. So I would get out of it. But I would go to like the opposite end and I would binge. And it was just like, it was so unhealthy in my mind. And so I was so nervous this time around, like going there internally, I don't know, I have not. And I think it's honestly just because I saw what my body was capable of doing and what it continues to do for me, regardless of having a baby. Like, it just put everything into perspective. I also think seeing people in my life go through scary times that was like bigger than what we just look like externally put things into perspective too. Like, I've had family members that have gone through like serious health issues and friends too, and it does not matter like what you look like. And I'm just gonna keep repeating that, but like, it just so does not matter. We put so much energy into that. And if we all just focused on ourselves and how we were as people, it would just make life so much simpler. So yeah, I guess this is a reminder that like, don't feel guilty if you're trying to like get healthy and work out, and like if you want to lose weight, and like, it's okay to feel that way for sure. And it's okay to want to know how someone is doing it. I just think for a lot of people, it's like, I need to be skinny in order to like look good, to be fulfilled, to be valued. And like, that is so not true at all. My husband has loved me at every size I've been at, regardless. He's been attracted to me. No one in my personal life, friends or family, has thought of me any less because of the way I looked. And yeah, at the end of the day, our health is what matters. The people in our life is what matters. And you are so much more than your weight. And I think I'm just gonna end the video here because honestly, this is like very rambly and all over the place and long. And hopefully this is like the last time I really talk about it, because I don't think it needs to be addressed over and over again. Now it's on every platform. So I love you guys, and I will see you in an upcoming vlog. Bye.